Hello everyone and welcome. Thank you for signing up for this program about anger, emotions generally, but specifically about we're going to learn things about anger. Congratulations, because anger is not an easy thing. It's a hot topic. It's hard. It's hard to manage our emotions. It's hard to live our life, to lead our business, to manage our relationships when everything around just is keep pushing us to get angry. That's painful. That's hard. And so you might be thinking that something is wrong with you. Maybe something wrong with all the world around you. Who knows? We'll see. We'll have some surprises during this program for sure. And it's hard. And you don't want to struggle with that anymore. You want to understand what's going on. How is that possible that some people manage their emotions better, easier, but for you it is so hard? So congratulations, because it's not an easy thing. It's much easier to just put things on everybody else and say, just people don't get me. People are just dumb and slow, and it's easy. And sometimes it's true. People are slower than us. Some of us are just different, more creative. They have just different personalities, and it's not easy. Or maybe you're angry on yourself because you want to do something, but you behave in a different way, or you have some goals, some stuff to do, and you try and it doesn't work, and that makes you so angry. I remember one thing which made me one of the most painful moments were when I started to record videos for YouTube, for my program, for Explore Yourself Mindset Business Academy. And I only picture myself saying things in a way, but then when I look at the video, it's so different. The voice is different. The video, it's like, And a hard thing about anger to know is that when we get angry, our brain is going to function differently in the following 8 hours. And our cortisol, stress, our hormones are going to be in a different balance for up to 24 hours. So it's residue in the residual process is hard to be eliminated from our body. We're influenced by it, even from a 30 seconds anger. Right. So I promise to you that if you can go through, because it's not going to be super easy. It's going to be simple and clear, for sure. But it's not going to be super easy, because we're going to look deep. And when we look in the mirror and we're going to look within us, you might have some reactions. I hope you're not angry now. Because if you're angry now, then you find something that makes you calmer a little bit, so that you can be in a state where you can look at yourself, you can question yourself, listen to the answers, and do the work. All right. So thank you for signing up. That's a great thing for you, and I will do my best so that after these mini series, should be 6, you are empowered with all the tools necessary and the knowledge, so that you can understand how other people operate, what is anger, what are the emotions, because there are so many things which people just they have some misconceptions about anger and emotions generally. My name is Alexander. I'm the founder of Explore Yourself Mindset Business Academy. This program, Emotional Command Reset, hopefully, I hope you have downloaded the workbook and it is in front of you. Print it out in the best way so you can write it down, but digital format is good too. And this program is part of the mostforce.com. Most Force stands for Mastering Oneself Task Force. So this emotional command reset is part of Mastering Oneself Task Force, right? So you are part of this task force. All right, good. So with that being said, my name is Alexander. I'm 35 years old. I'm obsessed with psychology, human behavior, helping people, leaders, consulting businesses, helping leaders, leadership advisors, so that people can do what they can do best and they can do even better and even more, so that everybody around the leader in your life can grow, you can grow, the people around you can grow. And so our businesses succeed, the quality of our life increases, the quality of our relationships with our people increases, your health is better, you sleep better, because you know what emotions are, and especially anger, which is this program is about, right? Good. With that being said, let's start right into it. So you have the workbook right in front of you, right? So the first lesson, which is this lesson, is about the hidden anatomy of the emotions. So what are emotions? Because I tell you, you might be surprised about some things. Then we're going to go through the next 5 lessons, the name you have on this page here. So that doesn't require too much introduction. All right. So first lesson, this one is about emotions generally, because anger is an emotion. It is not a disturbance. It's not something that's wrong with you, with everybody's. It is simply an emotion. But what are emotions? And then we'll focus on anger specifically. All right. So lesson number 1, the hidden anatomy of emotions. Emotions are indicators, symptoms, and sometimes even allies, but they are never as real or lasting as their roots. They are temporary and fleeting, deserving close observation and thoughtful analysis, but they should never be given the driver's seat unless intentionally and consciously allowed. So emotions are not the ingredients, they're not the most important aspect of what makes us human. And they're temporary, they come and go. But how are they formed? So you have the triangle right here on this page here. So look at it. You have the emotions at the top of the triangle. The beliefs are in the low left corner and the thoughts are in the right. So this is how it works. We have a belief. We'll see closer what a belief is, how they're formed. We're going to study that in the next lessons. Then you have a thought. So when our belief says that something is wrong or right, because a belief is this is right, this is wrong, I deserve this, I don't deserve that, everybody deserves this, nobody deserves that. So it's a belief. I believe that, and it's your personal belief, it's your personal truth and understanding. So when we have a belief and we marry them together with with a thought, the son or the daughter is the emotion. When you put these two together, then you've got the emotion. So imagine this way. You have on the next page right here. Imagine, for example, the belief is kids need protection. The thought says, you heard somebody, so you process it. Kids are smart asses and all they need is to trick you into something. So that's the thought. That's the information. You put them together, boom, and you've got the emotion, which is frustration. An example of healthy anger. So you have the belief, you believe this is right, that's wrong, and you put a thought together, boom, that's how you get the emotion. The emotion is not to be blamed. It's a normal reaction. Now, what to do with it? Is it normal to act upon that emotion? That's another conversation. So the emotion, it is not to be blamed. Imagine driving a car and seeing smoke coming from under the hood. You don't get angry at the smoke. Instead, you wonder what's happening and take immediate action to investigate. First, you'll move to a safe place or to stop right where you are to prevent further damage and ensure the safety of yourself and others. In the next lesson, we'll learn how to emotionally detach from anger. But first, we want to understand the essence of anger itself. It's like when you put some milk to warm up some milk, and if you check, and then it isn't there, and then boom, the foam starts to go all over the place, and bam, the milk is all over the place. The foam is not to be blamed. So you've got a milk, you've got a temperature, you put them together, foam is going to be there. That's what is an emotion. We'll go a little bit deeper later of healthy emotions, healthy anger, and so on and so forth. But let's understand first what are emotions. They are the daughters, the sons, the kids of a belief and a thought. And when they are in conflict, you get the emotion. For example, if you think it's all right to be late at work, to your job place 15 minutes, You just believe that that is all right. Now, somebody tells you, it provokes a thought in your psyche and in your brain that tells you that is wrong. You'll have an emotion because you'll say, how can you say that? Why are you attacking me? Because I'm not saying that's you, but that's how it works. So you have a belief and a thought. Now, you want maybe to look now within you and say, what are the beliefs and the thoughts which, when I put together, make me feel in a way or another? So you can pick up any kind of emotion. So look on the second page of this lesson, right here, right? And you have the belief, the thought, and the emotion. So start with an emotion. So write down, I feel joyful, joy. Like I feel very, very happy and enthusiastic. Okay, good. What's the belief and the thought which put together makes you feel that emotion? For example, you wake up at 15 minutes earlier and say, that's so good. I woke up and I feel good. What's the belief? The belief is that I need more time to prepare before I go to work or start working in business. I just need more time, and usually I don't. That's the belief. And the thought says, you are 15 minutes earlier. Boom, you put together, you've got joy, where you're just happy and enthusiastic. What are other combinations? So without even judging them, without trying to decide what's right, what's wrong, just look at every combination you've got between some beliefs which you believe it's in a way or another, about people, about things, about the weather, about yourself. What are the thoughts which accompany that belief, and what's the emotion which you get out of it, so that you can clearly see for yourself that the emotions are simply the byproduct of a belief and a thought. And that might be suggesting to you something, that if my beliefs are unknown and I don't pay attention to my thoughts, I might find myself, you find yourself in a situation where you're enslaved in an emotion, you're controlled by that emotion, and you maybe thought that that emotion is something part of you, it's part of my identity, it's just my way, I'm just wired this way. But when you look closer and you say, oh, wait a second, it is not the most important fact aspect. It is just a byproduct. So if I change the recipe, the ingredients, or if I can start to understand what are my beliefs, I might discover that some of my beliefs or some of my thoughts might be susceptible to some change, or maybe I can understand other people's beliefs or thoughts, so then I can talk and communicate to their beliefs or to their thoughts, so that we can connect each other, one with the other emotionally, so that we can understand that an emotion, it's not just a given fact. I'm just this way, I'm happy when I'm like this, and I'm very sad, and this work just stresses me out. So maybe you're a business owner, you're working on your business, maybe you have a team you have to lead, or you have colleagues and seniorship at work, or maybe you are part of the management team. And there are so many things which makes you angry or in other way. So the goal of this training right now is that you can see for yourself what an emotion is, and that anger works the same way. Now, we will dive in the next lesson exactly what to do right in that moment when we find ourselves angry. How can we detach from that before we get burned, before we start to engage? In the following lessons, we will look deeper. But in the next lesson, the second one, you're going to have a great super tool, effective, efficient, immediate, which will help you to detach so that you don't get engaged into that emotion and you don't find yourself going through the whole day with that anger. All right, good. So do now these exercises and see for yourself how this process works, so that you can start to change your attitude towards the emotion, and rather than looking at them as something as a given fact, you can look at them and say, we're gonna have a conversation. I'm onto you, and now we're going to have some work. I'm going to change the relationship I have with you, and hey, anger, now you don't have any more of that power which I thought you have, but now I understand what makes you to be born, and that is going to empower you. All right, good. So do the work, and and we'll see you in the next video, which is the lesson number 2, admit and acknowledge, right? Thank you, see you in the next one. Hey, welcome back to the lesson number 2, admit and acknowledge. What is that? Well, so now you've done the work in the first lesson, and now you know what an emotion is, and that it is not something to be feared, it's not something bad or good, it is just a byproduct of a belief and a thought. And that's very important. Now, once you already know that, think about a moment when you find yourself angry. Now, right in that moment, you might observe one thing, that if you do not acknowledge yourself that you are angry right in that moment, you jump into the reaction. And when you start to react, everything goes south, everything goes bad, because you start to say things which then you apologize, you didn't want to say. Well, it goes just through your body, and then you need hours to release and clean your body out of that. And it's hard. So the objective of this lesson here is to give you something which will allow you to jump out of that reaction. It's a temporary tool, it's not a strategy, it's not a long-term strategy, it's a short-term strategy. So we often get angry not just because something triggers us, but because we know what's coming afterwards. We know the emotional spiral that follows. The loss of control can feel overwhelming. Deep down, we're aware that anger tends to lead to regret, to tension, to distance. And that very awareness becomes another reason why we fear or resent our own anger. How many times we say, well, I'm not going to deal with that right now because I will just get angry and then I don't want to go there, right? Yet at the same time, expressing anger can feel incredibly liberating. For a moment, it offers a sense of release. But when this cycle repeats, trigger, reaction, regret, we end up emotionally and physically drained. Over time, our teams grow less transparent, walking on eggshells around us. And we begin to adopt a distorted personal truth. I'm just wired this way. The real turning point is admitting this pattern exists and acknowledging that anger, no matter the trigger, is still our internal response. It's hard to swallow. The process is always internal. And when we fail to master our inner state, we often try to control everything around us. Let me try to modify everything so that it doesn't trigger me to get angry. Becoming obsessive, reactive, and ultimately more angry. Becoming aware of this dynamic is crucial. So let's look at the alternate phases of this cycle and start reclaiming control over what truly belongs to us, which is our inner response. So before you realize you're angry, you might notice initial symptoms such as sense of discontent, fear of the anger itself, an urge to rush or speed up, anxiety about lacking control, feeling disrespected, and worry that something or someone might jeopardize everything. Recognizing these signs will help you know your personal anger and manage your emotions more effectively. Write down your most often symptoms. Think about moments when you are about to get angry and there is a symptom, there is something, some tension goes within you. Maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's a symptom of I gotta get out of here, or it's a symptom of I gotta control this person right now, otherwise things are going to get worse. Sometimes we have to take immediate action, but not as a reaction. So focus on that moment when you are about to get angry. What are the symptoms before that moment when you do get angry? So write down those symptoms. You'll see later why is that so important. So the framework I want to teach you right now for those moments when you get triggered and you are you're about to get angry. When you are about. Why is that so important? Because the next time you get angry, today, tomorrow, if you write down the symptoms, you will know them. So you write them down and you say like, when I get this sense of like, I'm losing control, or I have this sense of somebody is fooling me, or I have a sense of that somebody again wants to manipulate me. So that fear, that anxiety, give it a name or just write it down. Because once you write them down and you'll know them, giving the frame, which having the framework which I will share with you, will help you to slow down, slow motion that moment and say, oh, I've got this symptom. I'm about to get angry. So you acknowledge yourself that I'm about to get angry. Most people run away from this phase, acknowledging themselves that like, I'm about to get angry. And they're just like, what did you say? What did you say? No, look at me. Look at me. So what? And so they start to react into that. But if you acknowledge yourself, okay, all right, it's coming up. I'm about to get angry. That's good. Now you know. So here's the first myth many of us are taught. Anger is bad. I'm not trying to convince you otherwise, but consider this. When you accidentally touch a hot stove or you want to pick up a hot cup of coffee and you didn't know it is hot and you just put your hands on it and like, ouch, ah. So let's use that example as a case study. What's wrong? The fact that you reacted that way or because the cup of coffee is hot? Well, nothing's wrong. Both are normal things. The cup of coffee is hot, the stove is hot, there's fire, and it's a right that your body protects you from getting burned. Both of these sides are not to be blamed. But it's about not what's wrong, you're wrong, that thing is wrong, I'm wrong. It's not about trying to find who to blame, but it's about understanding and recognizing hot things, for example, in the hot stove or the cup of coffee, and managing your reaction. So experiencing anger isn't a bad thing. It's like that reaction when you pull your hand from something hot. It's actually useful. It protects you. Protects from what? We will see a little bit later. So it helps you to understand the situation better, read the environment, and develop wisdom by practicing good emotional responses. That way, no one ends up in the emergency room. I know your heart is stronger than that, but you get a point. And the stove continues warming up the food, and you keep your hands healthy. Anger is a byproduct and never the root cause. We already mentioned that in the first lesson. So, admit and acknowledge. This is the first lesson about anger. So, the first number, the most important thing. When you're about to get angry, step number 1, acknowledge yourself. I'm angry. I'm getting angry. Without admitting it to yourself, you'll be carried away in denial until you mess up the whole situation. If you do not slow down right in that moment, it's like, I'm getting angry. You have to acknowledge yourself. That's why it's called admit and acknowledge. Acknowledge the symptoms. It's coming. And admit, I'm already angry, if you already are. That's the step number 1. So remember them. There are 3 steps. Step number 1, admit and acknowledge. Acknowledge the symptoms and admit, I'm angry. Before you start to react. Don't think about it like something like, oh, so I'm not going to have the right to react. You will have your moment to react, but we're getting there. Step number 2, if this moment right here were to be managed perfectly, this situation where you're getting angry, if it were somehow possible to manage it perfectly, whatever that might be, just imagine it. What would you like to happen after this problem is solved? So if I'm in this situation, first one, I admit, I'm angry. Number 2, if somehow I could go through this moment successfully, what would I like to happen after this moment goes away? The problem being not your anger, not yet, but the event. Okay, so I have the event, process, outcome. I'm already jumping on the second part. So there is an event, a trigger, something happens. Step number 1, admit, I'm getting angry. Acknowledge yourself about the symptoms. Step number 2, situation is hard. This person like just said this, they behave this way. That's just not all right. That talks about the belief. That's not all right. Boom, you have a belief. Write it down. Think about the situation you got angry in the past few days. Step number 2. If somehow, miraculously, I could get over it, what would I like to happen? Step number 3. Immediately ask yourself, will my reaction bring me closer to that desired outcome? Be brutally honest. Yes or no? Like if I react the way I want to react, but you have already asked yourself, what would be the best scenario if you could go through this moment successfully? If I react the way I react, will this bring me closer to that desired outcome? Yes or no? If the answer is no, Boom, you deserve better, you can do better, and you know now exactly is the moment during this program. Now you know you can change. Why? Because I know what's the desired outcome through those situations. And now you know, because you just answered, if I react the way I react, things will get worse. And that's not the thing where I want to get. Remember, we want to understand where the anger comes from and improve the process, which is between the trigger, between the event, and therefore the outcome. Simply exploding in bursts doesn't seem like the best solution, right? We're tracking, right? So the framework is this: event, process, outcome. Boom. Doesn't matter who's to blame, doesn't matter who's wrong, you're wrong, they're wrong, doesn't matter. This is a very short-term strategy, just to allow you to detach from that moment, just to get in a safe place. Remember the car, if you see the smoke coming out under the hood, you just want to stop. So you're looking like, oh, well, where you can park, or if you have the possibility, you just stop where you are, and like, oh, what's going on, right? You're not just like, let me just push and accelerate and go even faster, everything's gonna be all right. No, you want to get like, oh, what's going on? It's the same thing what we have to do with ourselves. So this strategy really always works, because now I know you're tempted intellectually to challenge yourself and say, wow, this looks interesting. All right, so when I get angry, I can actually spot the event. Good. Now I know there is a gap. I can ask myself, what would I like to happen if I were somehow to go successfully through this situation? What would I like to happen? I would like that they understand this, that I understand them, that they execute this way or that way. That's what I want to happen. Okay, good. If I react the way I want instinctively to react, is that the result I'm going to get? No. All right. Now you're challenging yourself. Means that I gotta do something in the middle, which is the process, so that I can get to that desired outcome, right? Isn't this challenging? Isn't this attractive? I know you are competitive. So if you are competitive, you can do better, right? Because like, I want to be that smart one which knows how to get to my desired outcome. Who doesn't want that? So now we have a lifeboat. You are now empowered. You can play with the event, change the process, or you have directed your focus towards thinking and controlling rather than jumping to a reaction. Now you know you have choices. You always have a choice. Admitting that you got caught in the fire of anger and acknowledging the choices you have is the first victory. So now, this is control, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, this is control. True control is not just let me decide that emotions don't exist. Let me just decide that everybody's wrong and I'm gonna just tell you what to do and problems solved. But then everything else, something else gets you into anger again. That's not control. True control is, I don't fear to see what the emotions are. I don't fear because I can be in control. I can look within, I can see things, and I'm not scared. Because if you're really sometimes a very competitive individuals, which I work with, I would ask, look, if you're so in control but you suppress it, why do you fear? Why are you so afraid of to see things closer, in a closer manner, if it's not scary? Why do you then have to suppress it and shut it down if there is nothing to be feared? So now you have a lifeboat. Why? Because it gives you that gap of detaching from the storm and using this segmentation, compartmentalize these processes. Trigger, process, outcome. What do I want? What would I like to happen? My reaction helps to close this gap? No. Event, process, outcome. Now you have choices. Now you can detach and you're tricking your monkey brain when you give to your brain things to do when actually instinctively you like to do something else. So instinctively you'd like to, here's the secret to overcome anger immediately in seconds. You keep your brain busy with the things which you need your brain to be busy with when your instinct pushes your brain to be busy with something which then leads to anger. So instinctively, you want to react. But if you can give something competitive, challenging to your brain, no, be busy with trying to understand the trigger, the process, and the outcome. Your monkey brain will be very, very happy to be focused on this segmentation, being busy chopping down the process of anger itself, so then you take control of the process. So you trick your monkey brain into, no, don't be busy doing that, be busy doing this. Then your brain starts to be busy doing this, and then you take control. Boom, you tricked yourself in a very healthy manner so that you do not jump from a reaction to another, from anger to another, but you start to gain control. So you trick it, you hook it, and you bring it in. Now, here's the exercise before we move to the next lesson, which is a much deeper. We'll go much deeper because now we have a lifeboat, we get out of it, but then we'll go much deeper into it and see where does it come from. And that is a life-changing lesson. The next lesson is a life-changing lesson. It will require some knowledge, some courage to look within, and I will give you the knowledge and the tools. You can do it. You absolutely can do it. Everybody can do it. I was a very angry individual, very impulsive. I would get angry very often. And because it was a very hot topic for me and very important one, I learned it, I dived into it, I trained every framework possible, which allowed me to empower others with the frameworks, with the tools, so that anger doesn't have control in their life. But otherwise, they can control the outcome through controlling the reaction. So the work which is required now from you to do is this: event, process, outcome. Start with an event, things which makes you to feel angry. Write them down. Then ask yourself, what is the outcome which I would like to happen after the trigger? And then put your hands like this. And say, think. What can I do so that I can close this gap between the event and the outcome? How do I get to this, to that? From A to B. Because in the process is your thinking. In the process, now I know you're smart. I know you can do it. I know you have done crazy, complicated stuff, and you dealt with so much in your life. I just know it. Because if you're following Explore Yourself, you're following us on social media, I know you're ambitious, you want to achieve great things. I know you have lots of potential. I know you can do this. I know you've got so much within you. So you can do this as well. And I know you are competitive. You like to challenge yourselves and I can figure out a way. I'm sure I can. So now you can train that. Event, think about the outcome. So here we have the place in the workbook right here. Event, process, outcome page. And think of a process. Reflect about those processes and see why did you chose that kind of processing which allowed that to happen, that outcome which you are not happy with. That's why write the event, then think of the outcome which you would like to happen. Then number 3, think about a process which will get you there. All right, good luck. Do the work and be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself, and you'll see that some things there require some knowledge which you might not have right now, but that's all right. Just be creative. Think of a process which will help you to move from the event to the outcome. You can only do that if you memorize this segmentation: event, process, outcome. Challenge yourself. So next time when you get angry, now you know that emotion is just a byproduct of a thought and a belief. And now you have also the framework: event, process, outcome. So then, boom, you're busy thinking. And when you think, then you rationalize. And when you rationalize, then you got control over that. But now it's time to go deeper. And this is the lesson number 3. Now, we are not in the fire. We're not boiling. We're not going crazy. We're not like, I'm going to wreck. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done that. And then your body, your energy is low. You're angry. You have headaches. You get angry at every other person and think in your life. Now in the next lesson, we're going to look under the hood and see where actually anger comes from, because it is triggered, but it comes from somewhere else. You want to know where it comes from? That might be something surprising. You want to know? Let's see in the next video. See you in the third lesson. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome back. Welcome back. So how is it going? How is it going with your work, with the process, with the outcome? How is this training? Is it interesting to see how many choices you actually have? And that is probably much easier than you thought to get out of that authority of that emotion over you and say like, ooh, I've got possibilities, I've got choices. I can actually do things in a much different way. That's empowering. When you have choices, that's power, isn't it? So now in the lesson number 3, narrow and navigate. So what do we learn until this moment now? Well, now we know that an emotion is the daughter or is the kid of whom? A thought and a belief. We'll see later how to take control of that, but we know we have a belief and a thought. If they are in conflict, boom, the emotion comes in. Might be a good emotion, a positive or a negative emotion, doesn't matter. The belief goes against the thought. Then you also now learn how to get out of that fire, from that deep waters, so that you don't get caught again in the same cycle. Through the framework, event, process, outcome, so that you can challenge yourself, how can I come with something which will get me to where I want to get? In this lesson, we're going to look at what is under it. Now, where this anger comes from? If that's emotions are part of who we are, where does it come from? So think of it this way. Anger is what you see at the top. So think of an earthquake. So there is the hypocenter, there are the waves, and then you've got the earthquake at the surface. So there is something in, then the waves, and then boom, 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 everything is boom, 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 is about to fall on the ground. What's that hypocenter? What the hell is wrong with me? Or what the hell is wrong with others? Don't they just get it? I told you 10 times and you're not getting it. Next lesson is going to help us to understand others. Probably we're going to touch that also during this lesson. All right. So now that you're in a safe place, using the event process and outcome. Now that you're in a safe place or on a lifeboat, it's time to use the tool from the previous lesson. Now and only now is the moment to get down to serious work. Remember, you can't reason with a drunk person, and dealing with an angry friend or colleague isn't productive either. The same goes for you. One major mistake I've noticed when working with people is trying to solve pain by causing pain, whether justified or not. If you're truly interested in making things better, you need to first find a safe space, emotionally, mentally, and even physically, to have a conversation with others or with yourself. Because your anger might be with you, you're dealing angry with you or with others. I want to take a pause here right now. I want to remind you that on the last pages of this workbook, there is a QR code which you can scan right now, get in touch with me, and I can personally help you one-on-one you can jump on a Google Meet call, and I can help you with this. If it's hard for you, if you kind of understand, it's kind of clear, but not really, and you need some personal help, it's free at no cost. Scan, click, get in touch. Amazing. Or if you're already a little bit more advanced and you already know this, you already got this, on the page before or in the description below these videos, wherever you are watching it, in your dashboard, if you are a student or just on the mostforce.com, I have a program made of 12 modules. It's called Allow Yourself to Rise. And there, You have a 100-something pages workbook for every module. Every module is an hour and a half, an hour and 20, between 1 and 2 hours. So there we go, step by step, very deep in all the details you need about yourself. It's about how to change your reality, to understand your ego, to how to re-engineer your nervous system, your spiritual aspect, how does that influence your psyche, your behavior, your decision-making process, your emotional intelligence and freedom, understand the emotions, but on a deeper level than this, how to control and manage and clean your subconscious mind, how to reprogram your operating system, the darkest side of your psyche. I always say our psyche, our brain also has a toilet room, so sometimes it needs to be cleaned, that as well. The shadow, probably heard about it. How to take full of your thoughts, another module. How to take bold actions and get results. How to connect the results towards the bold actions and how to increase them and connect so that you get the results of those bold actions. And how to conquer your dreams, the 5 secrets of laws of growth, of attraction, of growth. So it's a very practical, in-depth, extremely transformational program. You can access right now in the description here under this video, or you can have that call one-on-one with me. I can provide you even more information. So if you feel already that you got this, but you need a more transformational work, feel free to click, join, go into that program, start learning, transforming, changing your life right now. If you need more information, you can ask more information through this one-on-one call. You can download the brochure. Also, somewhere around this video, you can download the brochure of Allow Yourself to Rise. All right, so back to our lesson, narrow and navigate. So that's why we have to get in a safe space before we start to do some work, which will be transformational for you. And the lesson number 2, event process outcome, allowed you to create that safe space so that you can rationalize, you can think about things with you and understand what's going on. The aim of the previous tool isn't to solve the issue, but to bring you to a rational state, essentially preventing an emotional earthquake. However, an angry outburst is bound to happen soon. That will help you just get out, but if it's not solved, it will get back. It will get back. You'll get back. When your morning starts with spilling coffee on your dress, you can be sure you'll face countless triggers and challenges throughout the day. Just one thing goes wrong, you just woke up with the wrong foot, as you say, and everything goes south, right? Unless you're equipped with these tools which can help you save the day and quite often even your life, because it changes your life. You start to see things clearly, you start to connect differently, you start to communicate differently, you start to change the approaches. Because you speak to someone and they don't get it, they don't understand you, they don't follow you, then you can talk to them. Hey, well, what do you think? What are your beliefs? What are your thoughts? But later about that, your life just gets better. Imagine you're running late for a meeting and you absolutely hate being late. Suddenly, at a crossroads, someone asks to drive ahead of you. Then you get a call from someone you've already told you are in a hurry, but they keep chatting as if you're leisurely enjoying an aperitivo in Rome. To top it off, the parking lot is full, and now you have to wait for the attendant to figure out who took your spot. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking away, and you hate being angry, and so are your nerves. A rush of frustration runs through the back of your head, your teeth are clenched, and your jaw muscles are tense. You are on the brink of erupting with anger. But you won't do that, because you are not that kind of person, right? You're the other kind of person who does that, but later. You're someone who simply hates being late. But due to external circumstances, you are forced to be late. And that makes you feel angry and you're not that person, but external circumstances are forcing you to be late. And that makes you feel angry and blank. And what? Angry and? I don't know what you wrote down, but I will tell you what was for me. For me, it was shame. So what you've written in the blank, that blank? I personally hate being late. Sincerely hate it first. Sincerely hate it. First, I consider it disrespectful. If someone is late, they definitely don't respect me. And I really hope that's not true. Well, that was before. But it didn't change as quickly as I wanted to. It's not because it takes so much time, but for a deeper reason. What I thought about others and how certain I was about what others would think of me wasn't about them. It was about me. It was me thinking. I'm really talking about me, Alexander. It was me thinking that I don't deserve respect if I'm late. If somebody is late, I don't respect you. If I'm late, the belief is they won't respect me. How is that possible? Here we go. There was something deeper than the simple excuse I was using to fuel my anger. It was shame. I was ashamed of myself for not being the man I was told to be. And failing to be on time meant I would fail my father, who required me to always be punctual, always. On one hand, he taught me a great lesson that served me well in life, but when taken too far, it can become an ideology and a reason to feel unworthy of respect. So for me personally, in that blank went shame. What was in yours? I really felt ashamed, like I'm not that man, which I would like them my father to think of me, but it wasn't that I was thinking about it. It was a belief that was running there. If you are a good person, you are on time. If you're not on time, you are a bad person, period. Here are the questions that will allow you to unpack the anger and look deeply within yourself to find the source of this ravaging and destructive behavior. Painful and true. It's true to our own psyche. But today is your rebirth day. Today you can choose not to let that, what have you wrote in the blank, to not let that to bully you. Not to let it force you to be who you are not and to dance to its music every time the bell rings. So now is time to look deeper and understand that those beliefs which we have formed, which are running our actions, our thoughts, our feelings, they are hidden deep down, somewhere in our personal truth. And because, hence the name personal, doesn't mean it is true, but it's an absolute truth. It is not an absolute truth, but it's true to our psyche. And because it is so true, when I fail to do that, I feel that I betray the values I've been taught. I betray my promise. I betray something which I have installed within myself as true, as truth. But it is not the absolute truth. It's true to ourselves. Remember, it's not about right and wrong. It's about doing it the right way and the wrong way. So those beliefs should help us to grow and change. But if those beliefs, which one might say, yeah, but that is good. That's how I've been taught. That's how I've been raised. All right, good. Does it serve you to become a better person? Does it serve you to get to that quality of life which you want to have, to that quality of relationships you want to have, to that style of leadership you want to have in your business, to have that kind of relationship with yourself, where you want to go to sleep being angry at yourself for failing here, failing there, failing there, failing here? So again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm no one to tell you that. I'm inviting you to question them and say, wait a second, what if those things, those beliefs, those programs, those deep convictions don't serve me anymore? I know it's a little bit scary because so now what? I've lived my whole life working and using them, and now I just have to give them up and that's it? It's not easy. But only a free mind is a powerful mind. So when the mind is controlled by those convictions, it's not a free mind. A free mind is a powerful mind. Only a free mind is a powerful mind. You can really think only if it's not extremely conditioned by some beliefs which don't serve you anymore, don't serve me. So I remember how many times I've been through so much anger because I'm late here, I didn't do this right, I didn't do that right, I should have done this, I should have done that, they're like this, they're like that. sometimes it doesn't mean that they are justified or that behavior can be justified. It's not about that. It's about understanding what makes you to feel this way, to understand what makes them to act and talk in a way or another, which we'll get in the next lesson. But first I have to understand something about me, then I can deal with others. Otherwise, we will jump constantly in reactions. So, what's the framework? Is a little bit more complicated framework for this lesson number 3, narrow and navigate. So you see, that's all about your personal truth. So if you look at the page with the 2 triangles, I am, I do, I get, on the page where the framework is, then I prepared an example for you. So look. I am, look on the first row. I am, therefore I do. This is how I get. If not, I fear. And that is a disaster. Translated. And then you'll see how to translate it. So let's talk when you want to do something perfect and you just can't do it perfect. And I'm just a perfectionist. And you try to do it and people just don't get out. You want it to be done and you get angry. You get angry. You get angry. It's not about that, so now what? I just should let everybody do what they want? No. But let's first understand where anger comes from. Because if you're angry, you can't communicate. You can't understand them. You can't listen to what they actually say if you're dealing with someone. Or you can't even listen to your own thoughts because you're busy judging, you're busy boiling. So let's take the perfectionism example. I am a perfectionist, at the core, my personal truth. Therefore, I expect perfection. Every single time I do something or I jump on a task, I expect perfection. This is how I get disrespected. I feel disrespected if I do not perform perfectly or if I don't get a perfect work done for myself or for the company. I feel disrespected between you and you or between you and somebody else. If I don't get it perfect, if not, I fear to be considered not precise. Oh my gosh, if I'm late 3 minutes, people think that I'm not precise, but everybody know that I'm super precise. Everybody should know that. And when I fear to be considered as not as precise as I preach to be, that is a disaster. It's a failure and a misery. I failed. Why I failed? Who have I failed? Probably a voice which is not yours, which shamed you in the past years, in the previous years. What kind of work have you done? Hey, can't you just do it better? So maybe it was just a one-time voice, maybe a decade ago, maybe decades ago, that shamed you or me. And now every single time when we are in situations where we might perceive that we failed through to a scenario or to another, deeply I feel ashamed and I don't want to get ashamed. And what do? We defend and we react. That's why in the lesson number 2, I helped you to just detach and rationally get out of that. But that's just temporary. So now I want you to do some really deep work, because anger always comes from shame, mostly out of shame or of hate. We hate something, and everybody, when somebody does something or something happens, which is going to get us closer to that hate, we don't want to get that. Mostly we use anger to protect a scenario from happening, and we get into anger so that we don't get into that. For example, if somebody says something in your team and you don't want to listen to them, you just want to tell them, just go and do what I told you and shut up. That's what we would like to, is because we fear that maybe our authority is at risk. Or maybe we are going to be, we're going to hate the fact that we have to listen to someone, but I don't want to question my beliefs. I want your beliefs to be aligned with mine. And I hate that process of understanding your beliefs. I hate it. So before I get into that moment when we talk and I have to listen for a minute or 30 seconds to you, which I don't have, but probably we do, we hate that. So what do? Jump into anger. So now we have to rewind, to re-roll this tape and get into the origin of this anger. for most people is somewhere I'm ashamed of myself and I'm afraid that people will change their ideas of who I am. So I have to hide some things, and would hide some things when I see that the situation is leading in another direction. I'm afraid I will be revealed who I truly am. And people just won't respect me. I'll be honest with you. Now I'm pretty relaxed in when recording a video. But I was so afraid to change the mimics of my face and to not just come across as a teacher and a professor in neuroscience, because I'm not a professor of neuroscience. I've studied neuroscience. I'm not a professor of neuroscience. So that personal truth of I gotta do things in a certain way, because so the people know who I'm a serious guy, over there. I know it's nonsense, but it was such a personal truth to me. Now, there's a limit to it. It's not about, so today it's not about that. It's about being who you are. If you're more playful, talk in a way or another. So, you see, we might be ashamed of our voice using the video, or maybe we're ashamed of being late. We're ashamed of looking in a way or another, and then we hate how a dress makes us look, or we might be ashamed of so many other things. So now you've got to do some work and understand what is your personal truth. So use this framework, and in the column of the I am, row by row, take one, for example, authority. I've got to have authority. Take that. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, a solopreneur, I know you've got the thing with authority. Everybody does, especially when you're into business. I gotta have authority over things, or what? Am I a leader or what? This is not about leadership, but we could gladly talk about that in another program. Or just follow our YouTube channel, and it's somewhere in the description here, or is a QR code around these lessons. And get in touch, and we talk about leadership as well. So row by row, volume by volume. After you've done all this work, they are 14 minus 2, 12. After you've done the work, look at the column of the I am. And look at all those things and ask yourself, is this the best way to see myself? Because as long as I consider myself this way, is this helping me? Is this helping me to grow and change my life? Anger is a symptom of either a significant alignment or a greater conflict. Last page of this lesson. But I dare to ask you one question. Is it true that your friends will change their opinion of who you are if, for some reason, you are late to a meeting? And even if that's the case, are they the friends you want around you? In our attempt to earn respect through details and perfectionism, we might discover that true respect and true love are not about being perfect, but about accepting ourselves and others and allowing them to be human without lowering the bar to enabling and indulging in laziness. Perfectionism is the gun under which you try to smile, attempting to prove that you are all right. You are. And you are the loving human being who enjoys mutual respect without trying to buy it. Otherwise, you're simply afraid or feared, and that leads to even more anger. Anger, when negative, is the offspring of hate, fear, and shame. It's a hard lesson, and it's painful sometimes to see that we have adopted some things and we have installed them as our personal truth. But does that helps me if all those values are then creating these waves and the earthquake of anger? That is the most important question of this lesson. Now, what to do with that? We will set some goals. Now that this is the deepest place we will get during this program. From this foundation, we'll rise up again, rebuilding it in a different way, in a new way, which will serve you to live the life of the standards and the quality you want to, without being under the control of this emotion, anger. So take your time here, don't be rushed, don't rush the process, and see what is at the foundation And from there, we'll move to the next lesson. And from there, on a new foundation, we'll build up. That being said, thank you for your attention, and we'll see each other in the next lesson. All right? See you there. Hello and welcome back. Welcome back to Grounding Goals. All right, so in the previous lessons, we've got pretty deep, right? I gave you some frameworks which helped you to just get a situation under control, to get into a rational state. Now, what to do? Now, what do we do from here? You have seen some of the values which comes after the I am, and now you've seen clearly how everything you consider about yourself, which you think you are, if that leads to anger and frustration, probably there is a friction, tension, there is some conflict. Means that you want to achieve something, you dream of something, but because the personal truth is an old version of what you thought you are, and maybe you are not anymore, maybe you are, maybe you're not. Quick note here, that's why it requires really so much courage. Because to doubt in a healthy way yourself and to look within and say, like, really? I thought I'm, but that, yeah. That requires courage to put yourself on the surgery table and to like, oh, what this comes from. You know, it's like when you're mixing threads and you're making how is it called? A carpet, an old Persian carpet, and then you have, for imagining, all the threads are all white, but then there's one which is red, and it gets twisted and mixed, interlaid with everything else. Now you can't just pull it off. Sometimes there's some tissues which are synthetic, you just can take one, it's like, can take it off. But sometimes you have to, with the scissors, you have to cut, and then to piece by piece, take it off. That's a painful process. But that's what growth is, so that the growth can happen without trying to push and control, and then we go crazy, and anger is a terrible state. We're not creative. We can't think clearly. Our relationships are and damaged, and we create damage to ourselves, our health. Your stomach you're gonna get ulcer. You have headaches. You're tired because you're angry. That's not what you want. So that's why it's the only argument I might have here before we move to lesson number 4. Whatever you think you are, whatever I think I am, if that serves me and helps me to grow, amazing. But if it doesn't, then probably it's time to look closer and see, probably I'm not such a perfectionist as I thought I am. Probably I am, if that serves you. If you work at NASA and you like being a perfectionist and that serves the purpose, keep it going. But if it doesn't require, but you just get attached to that identity, I'm a perfectionist, but it doesn't serve and you don't need it, but you just like to feel about yourself that way, probably what? Let's see in this next lesson, grounding goals. So let's set some goals. What do we do? Where would we go now from here? We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. Now we have met ourselves through the lens of introspection and the interpretation we assign to what happens within us. So far, so good. But what about the great alignment and the great conflict? You might say, I understood the wrong conflict, but some things are just unacceptable and need adjustment. It's not me, it's them. Sometimes it's right. Remember, I mentioned before, it's not about right and wrong, but about the right way and the wrong way. Well, in this lesson, we need to be a little more philosophical. What is right and what is wrong? Yes, there are some things that are simply morally right and morally wrong. For example, gossiping with your colleagues or friends is unacceptable. That is right. It's right that it is unacceptable. You might inform someone once or maybe twice, after which you should take the necessary steps to adjust the situation, right? Hey, that ain't right. You just are not allowed to do this in our company, in your life. Or somebody talking to you, gossiping about your friend. This is the right way. The wrong way is to engage in gossiping and then try to justify or judge the wrong side. So let me gossip with you, but then I will push you on the, no, it doesn't work that way. They're going to grab you into their corner and you're going to find yourself even more confused than before. Now you're in deep waters. Anger will be squeezed out of you. You'll be provoked anger. It will get the worst out of you. Even if you are prepared not to experience it or to feel it, but you are humans. Challenging our weaknesses is a wise endeavor. Teasing them for the sake of ego entertainment is a foolish endeavor. Or as a wise person once just said, just because you can win over the devil doesn't mean you should dance with him. All right? So, what goals should we set for ourselves? What you have seen in the previous section is what I've seen in the I am section of the previous exercise, in the previous lesson. That is a choice expressed through a belief. Everything that follows I am is a choice. I am very like this. I am very like that. You might say, that's not everything a choice. True. Some part of our temperament is part of our personality. Some of them were choices at a certain point in our life, but they're not choices anymore. Probably yes, probably not. Some things are still flexible. If you're an introvert or extrovert, probably that ain't going to change. But if you're an introvert, but you find something which you're very interested and passionate about, in that context, you're going to be very extroverted. So you see, there are some ways around it. Why are we talking about this? Because whatever is in the I am section or column can be categorized in 3 big domains. Here's the page where you want to look in the workbook, this workbook here. So our beliefs of who I think I am are driven by our personal truth. Our personal truth is driven by our self-image. So what does it mean? Self-image drives the drive, and the drive drives the belief. If you see yourself as a fit person, for example, you go to the gym and that's the self-image. I see myself as a fit individual. Then you're driven to go to the gym more often. You're driven because I'm the fit one. I'm the gym rat, So if the image is I am a gym rat, you're driven to stay in shape. And when you're driven to stay in shape, you also have the belief. The belief which is, you might have 45 minutes, but the belief is you can do it. Why? Because you're driven by it. And when you're driven, the belief changes. You see, so beliefs are conditioned by our drives, and the drives are conditioned by our self-image. If we were told that we are idiots or stupids from the childhood, that's the self-image, and we're driven to hide. And when we're driven to hide, we form more beliefs that we are inadequate and everybody else is better than us. Quickly, for example, our self-image is made up of 3 big domains: the dreamer, the critic, and the realist. So imagine it about this way: all those identity or personal truths about who you are, they can be categorized in these parts here: the dreamer, the realist, and the critic. Why is this so important? It is important because we want to understand that some beliefs were in the dreamer domain. We have a dreamer within ourselves, and we sometimes confuse them as the reality, where we have something real, but we put it in the dreamer. It's real, it could be real, and I have admitted the existence of this identity. I'm a singer. But I moved it into the dreamer. Yeah, probably it's not real for me. So some beliefs about our identity move and transition and migrated from one domain to another during the years. And something which was real for us, maybe you're a great detail-oriented person. I'm the detail person. If it moved into the critic, if you were criticized constantly because you were that way, you start to critique yourself so much because I know I'm a detail person, but that's not good in life. Because we were told and something happened and it moved. For example, let's take a belief. I believe everybody is a great person. Just let's take this belief. Maybe you have it, maybe you don't. The domain is the dreamer. Because it is there. Why? Because you probably have also the belief that not everybody is a great person. Or do you? I don't know. Let's see. Event. Something happens. Monica is late. Effect. The belief is challenged. Oh my God, not everybody is nice. Monica was late. So you have the alignment which is missing. The conflict between the belief and the thought. Emotion. Anger. So you see, one belief. I believe everybody is a great person. Let's focus on this one. If you have this belief that everybody is a great person, sooner or later you'll be challenged because not everybody is a great person. Some people are not so great. Everybody has greatness for sure. But my personal belief is that not everybody is a great person. There are psychopaths, there are other type of people. So I personally, I don't know about you, I don't believe everybody's a great person. If you're an adult, you probably, I hope you know that. But let's imagine what kind of person would be if somebody would think that everybody's a great person. Would be a dreamer, a romantic, that everybody is a great person. Oh my gosh, and they trust everybody, and then they're challenged, and they're like, oh my God, I've been betrayed. Well, you have the belief that everybody's a great person. That will come with some consequences. What's the point of this exercise? Just map your inner kingdom in these three inner empire in these three kingdoms: the realist, the dreamer, and the critic. So you have to make sure now you go back to the lesson number 3 and see what of your identities are actually realist, which of them are just because there is a nagging voice is the critic kingdom of ourselves. We all have a critic inside somebody. In somebody's empire, the critic has a big voice, a big mouth. In somebody's inner empire, the critic has a small voice and never critique themselves like me, bad like me. I didn't do that. They're always perfect. And there's the dreamer. Now, if this is true for you, you can read the other examples also, so we don't stop here too much. If this is true for you, means that is true for others. Where are we getting there? We are here to solve the anger problem. Why am I talking about this? Because anger, you remember, it's a surface thing. It's always at the surface. It's the earthquake. The waves are the process, how we deal, what we have learned until today, to do, to react, to protect, to deny, to jump, to save, to yell, to protect and defend something. Those are the waves, but at the core, there is where you have to look. Who do you think you are? And to make sure those values keep serving you. And just by make sure they are keep serving you, it's complicated. But with this framework of, is this something I'm just wishful thinking? Is this something it's actually real? Is because I've got 15 years of experience and I know this is real. Not that. I thought 20 years ago that everybody's a great person. But now let's look realistically at it. I thought I can read a book every day. Now, that was my ego telling me that. I can't read a book a day. It's just not me because I just say I'm a detailed person. Talking about me because I would like to talk to you. If you want to jump on a one-on-one call, do that and we'll talk about you. So I'm a detailed person, which is true. I like the details. I like to observe details. And because I believe I'm so, but I'm also good at it, so I embrace it and I say, okay, good. Be in, welcome in, be part of my empire. I'm a detailed person. Okay, good. Does it serve me? Yes. But if I thought I'm a detailed person, but actually I'm not a detail-oriented person, I might force myself to be a detail-oriented person, but actually I'm not. Maybe you're a good communicator. Maybe you're a good leader. You don't have to go into the managing stuff. Or maybe you're a good manager. And you actually enjoy managing things rather than leading things. Maybe you're a good creator, you're a painter, maybe you're something else. Maybe you have to acquire some skills which naturally you can develop them so much faster, so much better, which is so much painful for others. So you see, readjusting this empire within ourselves and embracing the gifts we were given helps us to be more aligned with ourselves and understand, wait a second. I'm just critiquing myself, but actually it's good. Realistically, I'm good at it. Or I can do better. So we can do the reading here. There's a little bit more. Let's look through the 4 questions before we move to the next one, evaluate and extract. What to evaluate and extract, we're going to evaluate a little bit more in detail while we're going up. Because while you're going up, you'll have to do some work to practice. And while you are practicing and applying it, you'll be kept being triggered. And that's not going to be easy. So I'm going to empower you even more in the next lesson. So here are the grounding goals, is to understand, after you've been through the lesson number 3, you've done the I am column. And how does that lead to shame, fear, and hate? Okay, honestly, that's what it is. We all have those toilet rooms in our psyche. Good. Now we are grounding goals. Now we have to organize them and see, okay, I want to move this to that. I don't want to be a dreamer anymore. I want to move this belief because actually I thought I can, but actually I can. So I moved that identity into the realistic rather than being afraid of it. Fear. You see, in the lesson, if we could have a one-on-one conversation, that would be a much easier task to do. Because some things we might be afraid of our own success. We might be afraid of our own growth. And because we are afraid of that, we protect it, we get projected, triggered, and we get angry. But actually, maybe it's an identity of who you are, which stays in the dreamer, but he's got to move into the realist. And you have to start to do it because it's doable, it's possible. The 4 questions I want to draw your attention are. Question: what am I believing as I'm having these thoughts? Are these beliefs grounded in evidence or are they simply habitual? Step 3: are they contributing to my growth or are they just reinforcing one of the 3 areas mentioned earlier? Step number 4: do I deserve better? Absolutely. What belief should I adopt that will foster my growth and enable me to build the quality of life I deserve, you deserve? So now it's time to reinstall something new. So turn out the page, the last page in the lesson number 4. Let's take on a belief. People deserve multiple chances. Evidence, what the origin comes from. Now we're dealing with the who am I. It happened maybe that I once lost a precious team member, hence my fear of losing others. And that fear triggers anger. Because sometimes somebody, maybe in your team or a colleague and you as a business owner or as a leader, and somebody comes and say, I'm struggling with this, and they're just communicating. They are struggling with the task you've given them. But if you lost and you're somebody precious in your team and you're afraid, what is that? Fear that you're going to lose this team member now. Boom, anger, because like, gosh, this one is going to leave again too. Everybody's leaving me. Boom, identity, everybody's leaving me. Is this true? No. So what is the new belief which will serve you to communicate, to interact, to understand, and to move things forward? People might deserve multiple chances, but not an infinite number of times. Oh, this is a realistic belief. Yes, people might deserve multiple chances, 2 or 3 or 4, according to your personality and your situation. I can't tell you how many. But that would be a more reasonable belief, not a belief that everybody deserves multiple chances. Or maybe you're on the other side. Nobody deserves a second chance. And then people are leaving, then you build a reputation, people don't want to work for you, they're walking on eggshells around you, your friends, your partners, your investors, your family members, and then you're like, oh my God, oh my life sucks. Your life doesn't suck. We sometimes just push people away because at the core, our personal truth, our beliefs, are saying that this is so, that is so. So now, right now, you have the possibility to turn your life around. And not only to avoid getting angry at stuff, and to manage it, and to go through it, and to understand where it comes from. This is the turning point moment where you look at your beliefs and you have to look close within you and say, who told me first? Since when I have this belief? It's time to let it go. And to install a new one. What is a new one? Even if you can't understand it, even if you don't like it, but if it's a belief which would serve you to grow, reinstall it. You'll write it down, you'll have it in front of you, and that is growth, my friends. This is growth. When you organize things, we understand, we go deep, we set goals, we do it, we act upon it, And now when it comes to do the work, now you're going to do this work and you'll see the evidence. You'll find somebody or someone, or maybe you, for the first time going through a failure. You told that to yourself and it became your personal truth. Now it's time to clean that mess up. I know, but the more you allow yourself to do this kind of work, the much easier you'll get through it, and it will change your life. That's one. Two, it will change all the opportunities you have, because you'll start to understand people differently. You'll understand that they have the same thing. And rather than getting angry, you're going to deal with their beliefs and their thoughts. So when you see that there is a miscommunication and somebody just doesn't get it, you're going to ask them things. Hey, but do you believe being late 30 minutes every day is a right thing or a wrong thing? They say like, oh, I don't think that's a problem. Okay, good. Now you have a belief understanding which is different than yours. So I was like, okay, buddy, look, I got a message for you. Look, this is how it works in our company. And I want you in our team, but these are the things. This is okay, this is not okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, now we know. Good. Look, when you say this, that's how people interpret it. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, now we know. So you know, and if you don't get angry, you can deal with their beliefs. So you question their beliefs. Hey, do you think this is right? Do you think this is right? Do you think this is right? Okay, wrong, right. Good. You examine their beliefs. Do you think when you do this? Do you think when you do that? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? What if somebody did that to you? How do you think? Okay, and you see maybe they're struggling with the thinking. Okay, good. That's how we think here. That's what we suggest. Are you in or are you out? So rather than boiling, getting angry, and not saying what you have to say, not asking what you have to ask, you can do that because now you understand you. Now you can understand others. And when you understand others, boom, you can say what the words which are going to reach that soil so that you can bring that message across. Now they understood. You know for sure what they have understood. Because you asked them, that's what you understood? Yes, that's what I understood. Okay, perfect. Good. Now we're tracking. Good. Now I've got 2 chances. All right? Because that's the culture here in our team. Well, the same thing you do with yourself. The same thing you do with yourself. That's what I thought. Do I believe this thought? Am I flirting with this thought? Is a thought which is rooted in some fear and hate? What do I actually hate? What am I actually afraid of? I'm afraid that if I don't do this now thing, I will never accomplish it and it will be late and tomorrow I won't be ready. Oh my God, whoa, wait a second. You just believe you'll fail tomorrow. You have an exam or you have a meeting where you just have 20 tasks tomorrow, and you have this belief that you'll always miss the deadline. So that's the belief. So wait a second, let's see, is this true or not? Why am I thinking this way? Okay, let's stop a little bit. That's not true. I don't believe this. I'm going to reinstall a new belief. All right, good. So that's how we get to the great alignment. The lesson number 5 is a great one. Now we have to extract the lessons while we are building up. Now you know where to look. You have some work to do now. You're reinstalling, now you've reorganized, now you're reinstalling new beliefs, and now we're going to apply and act upon those beliefs. But while we are acting upon these new beliefs, there are going to be some surprises along the way. How to deal with those surprises so that we successfully reinvent ourselves. Let's discover it in the next lesson. Thank you for your attention. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Here we go. Welcome to the lesson number 5. Evaluate and extract. So what have we learned until today? We've learned about the fact that the emotions are the kids of the beliefs and of the thoughts. You put them together, you've got emotion. Great, perfect. About anger. When you get in an angry situation, something that triggers, boom, you use which framework? Memory, refresh. Here we go. Event, trigger, outcome. Boom. You detached. Now you're rationalizing. Now you're thinking. Next lesson, in the number 4, you started to set some truths for yourself. I think I'm this way. I think I'm that way. Now what should I do with it? Afterwards, you start to reorganize these identities. Hey, wait a second. Am I so? Am I that? And you start to move and get a clarity through the dreamer, the realist, and the critic framework. All right, good. And there you reinstall new beliefs, which you have done in the previous lesson. Now, while you start to act upon these new beliefs, emotions, every kind of emotions are going to rise up. Before we start to look at where to put those emotions, because back to the fundamentals, emotions are just ingredients. Emotions are flavors. Now, lesson number 5. Emotions are flavors, not ingredients. I want to remind you, there is the QR code. You can scan it, get a one-on-one touch on a one-on-one call with me. We can do this work together, even deeper, even more. If you're ready already to change your life and to go deeper into one and forever, once for and for whole your life, to do a transformational work, you can access a chance, allow yourself to rise program. You can do it by yourself, 12 modules. You just access, you go on the click below, you connect, you go, you subscribe, you register, you become a student for exploreselfmba.com. You have access to every other program inside the academy. All right. And I also want to remind you that if you need my assistance while you are going through that very transformational work, which will change your life, there are two other options. You can take the core mission code. The first option is 6 sessions between me and you, which means Allow Yourself to Rise program, 12 modules, plus 6 sessions, me and you. Or there's the third option, Allow Yourself to Rise program, 12 modules with the workbook included in one-on-one session between me and you, and 12 mentorship sessions. So whatever suits you, whatever you decide that is time to do for you, go and do it and start changing your life now. Let's go back to the lesson number 5. Emotions are flavors, not ingredients. The next step, after understanding the nature and role our beliefs play in forming our personal truth and setting the goal of instilling new beliefs aligned with our values, what I value, what I want to get, what's important for me, and the quality of life we desire, is to allow our emotions to play a healthy role in our human experience. They're not the enemy. The lack of control is. By control is controlling the reaction, not suppressing stuff and then they explode and it's like, wow, beautiful control you've done. That's not control, that's suppression, that's denial. And then we get sick, then we get angry, then we snap at people, at ourselves and everything around. So look at now at this page in the chapter number 5. After you install a new belief, you have to think it. Now you have to think about that new belief. And you have to make some decisions, what I'm going to do about it. And that's how you get to the action. Now, the wrong way is to have your emotions along the way, all over the place. When you are in deciding new beliefs for yourself, which are going to serve you, I believe I deserve this. I believe I can do this. I believe I can accomplish this in 5 or 10 years. I believe that's what I care. That's what I stand for. I believe. That's who I am. Blah, 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 blah. An emotion might arise. Don't give it importance. Don't let that emotion to stay in the driver's seat. So you can look at the green check mark and the red cross. When the emotions are allowed to have space in every little step, they're gonna mess with our psyche, with our life, with our hearts, with our souls, with the people around, with everything, with our growth. Let them be there, but don't give them authority. Does it make sense? Let's put it differently. You are allowed to experience every kind of emotion. Experience it. What do you care? Don't act upon it. Yeah, it might trigger something. We will use it. And I'm sharing with your framework in the next page. But just don't give them authority. Here's the trick. Just spot it and say, you're an emotion. I know you. You're an emotion. I'm getting angry, but probably I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm just going to ask what made me angry. Am I ashamed of something? Am I afraid of something? Or maybe there's a healthy anger, and that should stop. Hey, hello, sorry. Hello. Would you stop doing that, please? Stop. So you see, you react with authority. You don't react, hey, stop doing that. No, you spot, oh, it's an emotion. I'm not going to give it power. I'm going to take action, but it's not a reaction to the emotion. It's an action according to the belief into the values. So while you're instilling new beliefs, new thoughts, new decisions, and actions according to these beliefs, emotions are going to arise. Don't give them authority. Just don't give them authority. Do what's right and don't give authority to those emotions. Don't hate the sinner. Hate the sin. Allow your emotions to uplift, empower, and help you keep growing. Embrace the victories and grieve over the significant losses so we can appreciate both triumph and defeat with the same attitude. If you're not afraid of emotions, then is when you start controlling them. When you're not afraid and you look at them, you use them for your growth. So when you look at the last page of this lesson should be shorter. When you install new beliefs, when you start to think about them, or when you start to act upon them, triggers. Write them down. Write them down and find the pattern. Every single time I start to think differently about a belief, why is this belief keep giving me this dissonance? Probably have to go back to lesson number 4, where you have to understand, because I still think it is not real, it's a dreamy thing, but actually I'm moving it into the realistic domain. That's why our psyche is resisting, telling you, no, that can't be true. You can't become a millionaire. No, you can have that lifestyle. You can transform yourself and have that personal growth. Oh, you will never become a great leader. You'll never become a great leader. It's a belief, and it stays in the dream kingdom. And we say, I have some talents and gifts but I just don't believe it. I would like to. You would like to, so it's in the dreamer, but you haven't crossed the line towards the realist. Hey, wait a second, but what if I start to install this new belief, and what if I start thinking about how can I accomplish it, and what if I start accomplishing it? So it's about belief, thought, and action. So while you try to do that, triggers, write them down so that you can monitorize this process. The key of this evaluation and extraction is to evaluate the process of growth. When you start to act upon a new belief, when you start to think how to satisfy this new belief, like what should I be thinking about if these were to be true? Because that thing which I thought is true doesn't serve me. That's not me. I thought I can give multiple chances to everybody. That doesn't serve me anymore. I have to start to be rational about it, and I have to start to think realistically about it. So every single time when you'll be tempted to give 2 chances to somebody, and then to the 3rd chance say, look, we had a conversation, we talked, it's time to go. You'll be triggered to go back to your old identity. Yeah, but maybe deserve the 3rd, the 5th, the 10th chance. I don't know. Nobody knows. You know. It's right or wrong, the right way, the wrong way. It's not about how many. I'm not teaching that now. That's up to you. But you'll be triggered to go back to your old identity. That's not easy. So you have to evaluate the process of growth and see what's triggering constantly. And see, again, maybe some shame, so that you know where to look at the identity work. And again, scan the QR code and we can go deeper and give you some framework, some things to do so that you can recalibrate, which is the name of the next lesson, the last step in our emotional command reset. All right, good. Now we're going to recalibrate, and some of the things have to go away, but we have to recalibrate this process of growth. So while you are on this lesson 5, evaluate and extract, you just keep tracking along the way the process of growth. What are the triggers more often arising so that you can monitor the situation? While you're doing it, you're actually using your emotions as your personal inner detectives. Because there's like red lamp, red. I gotta go and do something more work there. I gotta look there, what's the conflict within myself, so that you don't find yourself reacting. So how to recalibrate this old growth and release. Why release? Because we have to give it some time. Why is that so? Very important. This is the last secret in this program, and you will discover in the next lesson. Thank you for your next attention. Let's see each other in the last lesson of this program. Take care. Stay blessed. Bye-bye. Here we go. Congratulations. Welcome to the last lesson of this program. Amazing. Recalibrate and release. please write in the comment section below, or write an email, or get in touch. But probably should be there a comment section below. How is it going? Is this changing your life? How do you feel? Do you feel more empowered? Do you feel more enthusiastic? Which is a what? An emotion. Why? A belief and a thought. Back to work again. A belief is that I provided enough. I provided enough tools. And the thought is seemingly you are watching. So the emotion is joy, enthusiasm. That's from my side. Amazing. One page at a time, 1 minute at a time, one question at a time, one belief at a time, and that's how growth happens. Somewhere is growth. Yeah, this one is the last one. Growth doesn't happen. We make it happen. Amazing. So welcome to the last part of this emotional ECR, emotional command reset. All right. I would like to know your thoughts. I would like to know your feedback. Maybe you have a constructive feedback. You want to suggest something. You want to suggest maybe a program about leadership or self-leadership or something else. Just feel free. Contact me. That will be amazing. We'll get in touch. Maybe I have a gift for you. Maybe you have a feedback generally, how it changed your life. You want to write an email. Follow our YouTube channel on Instagram. All the links should be here around. But most importantly, if you need more specific help, scan the QR code or the link somewhere in the description below, and we can get on one-on-one session, me and you, and do that thing which seems the hardest thing to do, so that you can discover the job you're born to do, the mission for which is the mission of your life. And the faster we recalibrate and release, the faster we move forward. And the more beautiful are the heights and the views from those mountains of growth, of challenges which we go over. Recalibrate and release. Congratulate yourself for being so diligent and showing such respect for yourself and your goals, as well as your desire for growth. Few dare to challenge themselves to change, but you did. This is a new you, not driven by reactions, but drawn toward new heights, a deeper understanding, and a transformed self. Remember, some things are not about right or wrong, but about the right way and the wrong way. Some of us are more emotional, some are like Quentin Tarantino, some more like Mozart. There are no templates for human beings. There are only choices, lessons, formulas, and frameworks. Everyone can be who they choose to be. Now, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes now and realize your inherent right to be the way you are in terms of style and preferences, embracing the gift of transformation into a more humble, powerful, value-driven, meaningful, impactful, and purposeful way of living. Open your eyes. Choose freedom. Choose freedom. Freedom is the ability, the capability, and the ability to have choices. You can choose. If you don't have a choice, you don't really have freedom. So, one thing not widely understood about transformation and change is that it doesn't happen at the mental level. Once we look within and reach the depths of our own reality, it's from that same depth that we start rebuilding. While we may understand a few things mentally, true transformation lies in self-mastery, where our subconscious automatically provides a new way of leadership after the meticulous and often painful process of change. You see, here's the thing. Mentally we understand, but our subconscious is where the mastery happens. What mastery is? Mastery is, if it serves you and it served you many times, subconscious says, I will provide you the same thing again and again and again. So that when a very similar situation comes in front of us, the subconscious says, do this way. Because we have been there already. So the subconscious remembers. That's why when we want to reinstall something new in our subconscious, the subconscious says, no, I don't want this. This is something new. We haven't tested it. We don't know. We don't want to accept it. Get out of here. This is good. because our subconscious is protecting us. Imagine just this being vulnerable every single time, like new information comes, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that, oh, this is true, oh, that is true. And we are so flexible left and right. That would be a mess. So our subconscious, normally and logically and healthily, protects us. So that's why when we try to reinstall a new belief and think it, rationalize it, set goals, and act upon it, it will resist. It will resist, will resist, will resist. We, by the subconscious, I mean, I as a subconscious resist the conscious. The conscious says, hey, that's not true. You can actually achieve this or that. The conscious says, the subconscious says, no, I resist. That's not true. We haven't been there. We don't know. The conscious says, yeah, it's possible. There is a business plan, we're a experience, we're a program. Subconscious says, nope, take it away. I don't know what it is. It's like a virus coming in the system. So that's why we resist growth. The subconscious wants to protect you. And it resists and says, don't bring me this stuff. I don't know what it is. That's, if you heard about talking about resistance, stop resisting. Or resistance creates persistence, embrace becomes grace. That's what it is. And it's a human process. But we have to be smart and fast at realizing when we have to penetrate the protection layer of the subconscious and say it doesn't make sense at all. So I don't give a flying glass about this. You consciously penetrate the subconscious and say, dear subconscious, that's how you form this belief. So stop providing me this shit. Stop providing it. Doesn't serve. Install this. This makes sense. That makes sense. You talk to your subconscious. That is wrong because that's where we're taking it. Somebody told us we're bad, but that ain't true. And the subconscious is like, okay, good. Now I understand why I'm providing you constantly this kind of belief. But now that you explain me, I will stop resisting. Easier said than done. That's why you have to let some time to it. What does that mean? Or how to make it faster so that our subconscious stops resisting new beliefs. Because life is short. You don't have time to wait. You have to find tools and frameworks which allow you to penetrate that. So while you've set goals, preview lesson number 4, number 5, you figured out your identity patterns and you reorganize them from the dreamer, the realistic, the critic domain. You reorganize, you reinstall them, you keep tracking the triggers which are in the new belief installation. You have also the new belief installation, you have the old belief, the proof, how you install it, and the new belief. Then the second framework in the fifth lesson is you keep tracking of the triggers of the new beliefs, of the thoughts triggers and action triggers. What's bringing it up? Keep tracking and look where you have to look even deeper. To make this process faster, this is the most valuable framework of this program. The other one was most important. This one is the most valuable. Why is that so? You want to do it faster? This is a life blueprint. What does it mean? You write for yourself everything is driving you and make sure that they are aligned with your values and beliefs. This is a little bit more complicated work, so I understand it might be complicated. Jump on a one-on-one call, a session. We'll be there. I'll be there personally, me and you, helping you to answer every specific question. This is a little bit more complicated, but this is gold. Because once you make sure your drives column, this page right here, is aligned with your values and your beliefs. Wait, what do I value? I value truth. I value equality. I value the people which being true, and I value offering this. I value, what do you value? So you have to make sure that your drives are not just ambition and control others and looking like this and looking like that. No, you switch. This is a whole revolution. you switch to values so that you are constantly driven by a value. The mission of Explore Self here is to provide enough information and knowledge for young men entrepreneurs, of course, and women, but specifically for young men entrepreneurs, so that they can develop the self-leadership understanding and skills which allow them to become the leaders they want to have and to be for their business, in their business, so that they can realize their success while serving others. And that's what I do here. I serve you so that you can have what you need, so that you can become better and do better what you want to do in your business, serving the world around you through your services, through your products. So the self-leadership frameworks which allow you to become a better leader so you can succeed in business and life. That's the value. I care about young people which lack self-leadership skills and understanding of themselves, and they struggle. I struggled too many years. I didn't like it. It took a huge piece of my life, and I don't want that to happen to others. And that's what I do for those who want it. When you move your drives to be aligned with the values and with your beliefs, boom, a new force, a new energy of life comes through your veins. And then you make clear what are your priorities, what's more important, what's less important. Because you want lots of things. Everybody wants lots of things. I know you want this and this and that, and succeed and have and bring and build and do and become and have and feel and explain and tell and get and share and give. But some are more important, some of them are less important. You've got to have the strength and the courage to organize them. And the non-negotiable. That's not non-negotiable. That's the foundation work. That's the most valuable one. Then you move into the third one and you say, what's the mission of my business or of my life? What's the mission for the next 3 months? What am I on to accomplishing in the next 3 or 4 months? Or half a year or a year, 5 years, 10 years. Then the vision is, if that could have been achieved already, what would be the impact in people's lives, in amount of people's lives, or the world, or the industry? That's the dream, the impact. Once you get this clear, I promise you, my dear friend, ladies and gentlemen, once you get this clear, your subconscious will be stormed and it will stop resisting so much, because you'll come with new proofs, new information. This is where we're going. That's the mission. We're going to invest and put our energy and time and effort. These are the priorities. This is important but less important. These are negotiable. Boom. That's clear. It becomes so much powerful. And when you know your values, which are driving you in your new beliefs, you connect them all together. Oh my God, you become truly unstoppable. And God blesses those who take the courage, who take the initiative to be who they are. I wish you from the bottom of my heart that you can see that within you. You can have those minutes or hours of time to write these things down so that you can rebuild a new foundation where anger doesn't have so much space as before. In the Allow Yourself to Rise program, every model is oriented towards a very specific area, and it's from bottom up. So even if you have zero understanding or knowledge about our psyche, our psychology, of how it works and business, and how we're driven and values and ego, and how to set goals and how to make faster and better decisions, all of that process, everything you need, it is in Allow Yourself to Rise. And even if you don't have knowledge about and things about notions about psychology, because this little program which you've been through, it was very compressed. That one is a little bit more relaxed and I explain step by step everything, so you have time to understand basics, things, and notions. And the workbook it's completed. It's completed with all the tools and exercises you need there. So in the Allow Yourself to Rise, there is the program which will reshape your whole inner world, which will allow you to build the new future which you are looking for, which you are working on, and I know for sure you dream about and you know you deserve. If you really want to go full in, then you have the next option is Allow Yourself to Rise, and 6 sessions, mentorship sessions, where I'll be helping you, serving you. That's the core mission code, 6 mentorship sessions, or the core mission code 12 sessions. Both core mission code, whether it's 6 or 12, include the allow yourself to rise, because that's the fundamental, that's the foundation. And on top, 6 or 12 mentorship sessions between me and you. With that being said, you want to have a question, you have a feedback, write an email, leave a comment in the section below, get in touch, follow our pages on social media. But most importantly, enjoy your life. Love the enthusiasm, love the challenge, keep growing, keep building, inspire yourself, inspire others. Let that potential to get out and be who you're meant to be. A great human being which doesn't go through life suffering and struggling in anger, but changes, adapts, grows, and uplifts everybody around them. And that is a better world, which we all want to have. And that starts with me and you. Thank you for your attention. Wish you all the best. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.